Hi everyone, my name is Elisa, and we're back with our weekly podcast from last year. Again, this year I'm joined with Salman and a newcomer Maria who will be joining us every week now. Please introduce yourself, guys.
Hi, I'm Maria.
Hi, my name is Solomon and I am glad I am back.
So, today we have a very interesting topic. We're going to be talking about students and how they want to achieve their goals. And of course, we all know that in achieving any goal, academic goal for students, there is some sort of motivation behind their hard work. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, motivational indicators for students. Which brings me to my first question. What do you think? What motivates students? What is your opinion?
Well, I think if they could see the reward or the benefit of having the specific knowledge being taught to them, I think that's one of the motivators, or maybe if the subject also interests them. Also, how it is being taught and how it is presented. I think that can be an indicator. What do you think, Salman?
Yeah, I think one of the greatest indicators of motivation is when you study, at least right now, is grades. And grades aren't perfect. I often think that a better motivated student is one who has their work appreciated. And sometimes grading system doesn't work very well for them. Well, I believe the work of a student that is well appreciated is a good indicator of a good motivation.
I agree. There's also two types of motivation that we can talk about here. We have intrinsic and extrinsic. So let me explain to you what the difference is. So intrinsically motivated students, they learn because of a desire that comes from within them. While extrinsic motivation is when like an outside force, for example, a teacher or parents, they're involved in encouraging their students to learn. There's a huge difference between intrinsic and extrinsic adults and children because adults become more autonomous and they can make decisions about what they want to study, while children are often first to learn whatever it is in the school curriculum, which can mean that they're not always intrinsically motivated to master a specific subject, and they may rely on extrinsic motivation, which includes like rewards or negative consequences based on their performances, which brings us to our second question. What do you guys think makes it difficult to motivate a student?
My guess will be that one of the many difficulties that come with a student and motivation is whether there is a case of a student to student basis and whether a school is going to adapt their curricula to each one of them. It also comes with the faculties of the teacher, whether he or she is considering certain aspects in their syllabus, like, oh, this student has this difficulty or this student has X problem. I should probably approach these two in different ways. Whether the teacher is going to do that or not largely depends on extraneous circumstances, such as the education in the country. I do believe that it makes it very difficult for the students to approach many topics because of this barrier. Well, what about you, Alisa?
Well, I agree with you, Solomon. I personally think that there are various reasons why it's difficult to motivate students, especially nowadays when we are living in a digital world. Before it was outdoor activities such as sports, but now it's video games and, well, your phones. If you are scrolling to social media or whatever app that you have, you barely want to put your phone down, and it's a distraction. You won't start studying, and well, motivation will not come to you at all. That's what I think.
I
Yeah,
highly agree with Elisa. I think that students are demotivated by sometimes the structure, the allocation of like rewards, or if they do not perceive the classroom climate as supportive, or like you guys said, they have other priorities that compete for their time and their attention. And students may also suffer from physical or mental and like other personal problems that can affect their motivation. And I think another aspect that plays into this is, for example, if parents have too high expectations of them, this can be a reason for no motivation to study because it can lead to depression in students and consequently negatively impact their academic performance.
Yeah, well, I agree with you, Maria. But another reason that I think students are so demotivated these days is because they have this a fear of failure. If you get bad grades, for example, once or twice, you're very demotivated and you just don't want to work anymore because, well, the fear of failure just does not motivate you at all.
Don't you think that has a lot to do with grades, like grading system from 1 to 10 or from, I don't know, 0 to 20 in our country? Because I believe grading is like, it's very imperfect when it comes to this. Even though grading systems are very popular, and they do enable some students to catch up or to be better, to show up, to show that they are better than the others because they put the effort. But I believe it's very discouraging.
I
Sorry.
think that this also connects with class environment. If your students won't be engaged, if we don't find methods to keep them engaged, and it's just lecture after lecture, it becomes very boring, and your drive to want to study harder and stay motivated, you get lost in the way. That's what I think.
But I think you can overcome these barriers with things that if you're like in control of your learning, you're more invested in the outcome. Because I think that many teachers have a set school curriculum that they must cover, but there's usually like a way for them to customize like for example, the lesson content by providing examples or like anecdotes that it can both reinforce learning and our particular interest students, because it can also be useful to introduce to children or to students of any age to a variety of like different learning styles, as they may discover that they're more, for example, successful in taking a visual approach, or there's also auditory or kinesthetic. This is particularly true for students who struggle with specific learning difficulties. What do you guys think? Why do you think it's important to motivate students?
Well, besides the good education that all the students deserve, I believe it's important to have a positive outlook to what you do, what you will do in the future, right? To your career or to your hobbies, to what you want to become. Essentially, education is a thing that is unavoidable in life. You will always have to learn. This is an aspect that no one can say, oh no, I won't learn anymore. No, you will have to learn, especially in the modern world that requires people to learn the English. Like, it's kind of obligatory, right? So in that sense, I believe that it is a thing that we must come to an understanding sooner rather than later.
I think that motivating students is important because motivation is, in a way, a road to achievement. Students who are very motivated, they want to learn, they want to study, and they want to go to class every day. They want to focus and they will perform better. You will see that students who are deeply motivated, they perform better in their classes, their tests and exams. So it's so important for students to stay motivated because then they even celebrate their efforts and they produce higher quality results as well. You will see that.
I highly agree, because obviously when you think about it, well, the definition of motivation is just the driving force of doing something. It's the condition when a person is inspired to the ultimate level so that he or she they can act in order to attain their goals. And I think the most important elements to perform this job is first the ability to perform a specific job or task, and two, the will to do the task from within you. Without the internal will, you can't do the job, because motivation is the key to success, as Elisa said, which can open the mind of a person by letting him or her fight for his goals. So I think it's a necessary for all forms of learning, and it generates the quality and quantity of doing something. It makes a person more disciplined.
Although there is kind of an overstep when it comes to the quality of motivation, right? Like, most motivational material there for help to help people in general, right? It's not really high quality. I have seen most of the time students who want to get motivated often have these very non-technical motivational speeches that, while they may allow you to feel good, they don't really give you strategies. I believe that's kind of an issue. There are several examples on the internet when it comes to that. I don't think that really helps. I believe we all should strive to a higher quality of advice and motivational material than what we have right now. If anything, I want to point out that problem.
I agree with you because if you notice over the years, I think that motivational speeches have kind of stayed the same. And you can see that now when you try to show a motivational video or bring out a speech to your students, they're not even interested because become boring. I think we should find engaging ways to motivate students now.
Yeah, you think that even you start thinking that motivation is like even a myth because every day you wake up, a student wakes up with this lack of motivation, and then they watch some like motivational speech or video, and then you start your work, and then after 1 hour you get bored again, and then you start like scrolling social media, and it's just this like cycle. It's a never-ending cycle, and we need to develop new techniques which really work. So do you guys have any innovative methods for to motivate a student to learn? Would you suggest anything specific?
Definitely. I think there are many ways to motivate students. First of all, I think that we should learn what exactly will motivate you and what will keep you engaged. I think this is like different for everyone, obviously. Other than that, I think it would help students if they track their progress. For example, they didn't get the best grades in their first term, but they got motivated to study harder in the second term and they could see the results. It got better. So I think if they track their progress, it would keep them motivated till the end of their class year. Other than that, I think we could make activities more fun, or students personally could set up their own goals. They could write their own instructions, and if they write their own goals with clear instructions, they won't confuse down the road. They will know what to do and they will set their mind on doing it, staying motivated throughout all their work. That's what I think. What do you guys think?
We need to keep a student, we need to keep it interactive. We need to keep a student active within this. What do you think, Solomon?
I guess besides the interpersonal search suggested by Elisa, I mean, this is the thing that I often do, which is having an agenda and a schedule. So the agenda helps me to keep track of what I have learned and what I have to do. And the schedule, well, it's the schedule. It has a lot of information about what I have studied. And at the same time, it has the exact time that I am setting, not the teacher, that I am setting in order to send the homework or study this chapter or etc., like self challenges. Again, because it's better for you to keep yourself motivated than to cling on the grade to motivate you. After all, self-worth is really important.
Yes, I agree. Definitely. I use the same technique kind of to increase my daily productivity that makes me self-motivated, and it will too with the course of time for other students. So let me tell you what I do. So I do the same thing. I make a tough daily routine for myself, and I divide it into weekdays and weekends. And I write everything that I have to do and decide when to study and what I have to study. It's kind of like a to-do list, and I make sure that by the end of the week, I reward myself. So I keep it somewhere, like I paste it on the wall. And for example, what I do is that if I complete my daily task for 1 week full, I will be rewarded with I can hang out with my friends for like 2 hours. But if I complete 75% of it, then just 1 hour. Now, why this helps is because there's this hormone called dopamine, which is a hormone that's released during immense pleasure. So when you work hard, you get rewards, you feel pleasure. And if you follow it for a few weeks, it's definitely going to be tough at first. I'm not going to lie to you, but once you get addicted to that pleasure, you will work hard. You're going to work hard and you're going to understand the value of hard work. And you get used to this routine. You can reward yourself with anything. It can be as small as a piece of chocolate. So I think this is also another way that we would suggest as well.
I agree. I think that procrastination happens to everyone, so does it happen to me. And the way I stay focused is, well, just like you guys, I kind of make a list of if it's school assignments, I make a list of all my assignments and everything I have to do for school. It just keeps me motivated and I know what I have to do. Like I have everything written down. So I've set my goals and set my mind on something. So it's way easier for me to complete my tasks. It keeps me motivated making a list of all my schoolwork that I have to do.
Yeah. Although there are several differences in the perspectives that we are dealing with, right? Like, I believe that it is easier for us to approach motivation in a gamifying way, a way in which you are have a set of rewards waiting for you if to complete certain tasks. And although I do not think it's healthy in the long run, it is certainly a very valid form in which you can do something and get something done, which again is a real problem when you have issues like procrastination, which right now is widely spread, because virtual classes.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think also other issues instead of procrastination can be like mental disorders. We haven't really talked about that. Maybe next week we can talk more about it. For example, a person that has ADHD, which is a mental health disorder that it includes a combination of like difficulty to pay attention and hyperactivity and impulsive behavior, which can really be hard for them to keep themselves motivated.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. This is a very broad topic, and we all should explore different sides of it, and we will next week. I think today we had a great conversation. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, I think we had a great conversation because motivation, remember, that motivation isn't something that one gets by watching inspirational videos or by reading great articles or by listening to podcasts like ours. It's something that's provided to one by oneself. Learn to invest in you because it will pay off one day, I promise.
Yes, I agree. I think since we're all students here, we kind of really relate with each other about all that we have talked about today. So I think that's all for today, and see you guys next week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.